Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. Let it all hang out. DNA brings the car people out. The artistic, so gifted. African ancestry gets it. Yes, they black owned for the people. In the roots they will find your sequel. Genetic test in the process, peaceful. Reunite, multiply with your equals. Black scientists, research it. Invest in that time, you're worth it. Experience feels so perfect. Get on the right path to your purpose. No other in the industry like this. Find your link to a tribe, precise kit. The Mende people, Mendenga, Volanta, the house. I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. AfricanAncestry.com. The pioneers in genetic tracing for black people. Since 2003, doing what no other industry can do. By tracing your DNA to the present day African country, ethnic group, or tribe. What better time than now to find out where you came from? Order your kit today.
Hey everybody, you almost caught me dancing. What's up? I'm Gina Paige. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. I'm wearing my glasses today. Sorry for that reflection. We're the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. And we are on a mission to help transform the way we view ourselves as Black people and the way we view Africa. And we do that through DNA. I come here every Wednesday night, almost every Wednesday night live to chat it up with everybody. Fancy, so good to see your name pop up here. Hey, Zenobia, the researcher. We got Mary Smith in the house. Thank you, Lisa, for the belated birthday wishes. Byron, shout out to you. Hey, Anita, Galia, that's a pretty name. I hope I said it right. Hi, O'Brien and Mahawa. Everybody's here. Avanti's in the house. Thank you. Marcus Stone with the unapologetic hustle is here with us. Did I turn it up? Lisa, you know what? I have a 4-year-old cousin and he surprised me. He and his parents surprised me and he turned it up. So I can't say I turned it up, but he definitely did. Thank you so much, PC Kenny. I appreciate all the birthday messages. We got our Cafe Cubano Keys in the house. Della's here. Fernando is anxiously awaiting results. Fernando, which test did you take? This is a Q&A tonight, so I don't have really anything planned. We're going to talk about Africa Day a little bit, but I'm here to answer questions. But I got a question for Fernando. Which test did you take and you're anxiously awaiting the results for? Charles, Tony, hey, Yakota, Shelly, are you Shelly? Happy, thank you for the birthday. Greetings, everybody. Kim T. Durr, my husband and I would love to chat with you on a video chat. We have so many questions. I hope that's a good thing. So Kim, can you send us a message? Can you send an email to gpage@africanancestry.com? That would be the best way. G.A. Harper, I'm ready. What's your question? Fernando took the Patriclan. Okay, all right. So you're waiting to find out the ancestry of your mother's mother's line going back 500 to 2,000 years. Fernando, where are your mother's people from? Do you know where your grandmother or her mother comes from? Our Cafe, you're waiting for your results. Did you take the Patriclan test? Tell me. Alfreda's here. Plachette. Rapinola in the house. Hi, Valerie. Thank you so much. Thank you. I did. I'm Black and proud and grateful to be here yet another year. It certainly beats the alternative. And I was telling my team yesterday, we come from countries where I now at 54 have outlived the average life expectancy, and that's real. We don't have to, we have the luxury of not having to necessarily consider that here in the United States, but that's a real phenomenon other places in the world. And so I don't take it lightly that I am here and thriving, and I have all of y'all here with me. Lisa, we did have the happy hour, and we had a good time. Wendi and Ty were special guests. Oh, Wendi, I can't remember the sister who came on. She's in Georgia. Can you put it in the chat? I want to shout her out in case she's watching. There's an echo. I don't know what to do. Maybe I should turn the volume down. Let me turn the volume. That's probably what it is. Okay. Hopefully that gets rid of the echo. But we did have the happy hour, and we had a really good time. Okay, Maurice took the Patriclan test. Nice. Thank you, our Cafe Cubano. So, Rashawn, we got another Sierra Leone ancestry result. Rashawn is part of the Sierra Leonean family. Are you Mende or Timony, Rashawn? We're going back. Hopefully in November, they're going to do the citizenship conferment again. And so I hope you can join us. Fernando said, my daddy was a white boy. Okay, so your mother's people go back to North Carolina and Virginia. So it'll be interesting to see what we find for you. Brenda O'Kelly, yes, shout out to Ms. Brenda who chopped it up with us during the happy hour. She was one of the happy hour winners. Okay, Lori says, okay, so Lori has a question. My dad took both tests. My mom took the Matriclan and her brother did the Patriclan. So if I do the test, which countries will be on my results? Lori, thank you for that question. So because you have these family members who took the test, you don't have to take the test. So Lori, your results, your maternal ancestry is the same as your mother's Matriclan results. So whatever your mother's Matriclan result is, that's the same for you. It's the same for you, your brothers and sisters, your children, your nieces and nephews, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your grandmother, all of you share the results of that Matriclan test. Her brother, your mother's brother, took the Patriclan test. So that's your maternal grandfather's paternal ancestry. That applies to you too. You would not be able to get that ancestry by taking a test yourself because only men can take that test. So all of those ancestries are relevant to you, both of your father's ancestries and both of your mother's ancestries. But if you were to take the Matriclan, you'd get the same result as your mother. So I'd encourage you not to take it because you already have the answer. Shout out to Philip McGowan in the house, the plug, the African Ancestry plug. Austin, Texas is in the house. Olivia's here. Okay, we got some Gabon here with Green Moore. Rashawn, you're Temini. So we visited, you heard Wendi and Jay talk about how we visited Tasso Island in Sierra Leone, which is one of the places where you will find the Temini people. And that was a very powerful experience for everyone. We got Equatorial Guinea, the Bioko Island in the house. Shout out to Shayla. Okay, thank you, Maurice. Okay, Olivia says, what if your mother isn't your real mother? So if your mother is not your biological mother, then her test results will not apply to you. But as long as your mother is your biological mother, you all share the same results. I'm glad I could clarify your question, Lori. Okay, G.A. Harper says, I've done the Ancestry DNA test, and I know that they only do the overall. So I came back as 44% Nigeria, 28% Cameroon, Bantu, and don't they include the Congo in there? He says, I'm saving to do the African Ancestry, but when I do, does it give you more detailed information? And have you heard of GEDmatch? Okay, so I have heard of GEDmatch. GEDmatch was publicly a public database. I'm not sure if it's still public, but it's a database where anyone can put in their ancestry markers. So the result, the data that you get from whichever company, And then you can compare yourself against all of the people in that database to look for relationship matches. So if you put your data in GEDmatch, you might find a cousin or a sibling or a parent or whatever. You asked about our results. Will they be more detailed? So the Ancestry DNA test that GA that you took, oh, I can see your picture. Nice picture. That looked at your entire genetic family tree. So it looked at all of the branches of your tree, all of the thousands of lineages that make up who you are, and divided that whole tree into percentages. Our test doesn't do that. Our test looks at one branch of the tree and gives you specifics. And so, yes, your answer will be more specific than a percentage from some combination of regions. Your result will be specific to, if it's African, a present-day African country and ethnic group. Sometimes people get multiple ethnic groups. Sometimes people get multiple countries, but they're definitely countries and tribes. They're not these percentages of regions. I hope that answered your question. The key is that if that branch is African. So there are people on here, shout out to Mary Smith, who's been on with us live to talk about this, who've taken a test with us, and the result did not come back African. You took that test from Ancestry DNA, GA. Your results didn't come back 100% African. But you don't know which branches of the family tree are Nigerian, just like you don't know which branches of the tree are European. So when you take our test, we'll tell you which one it is, and then where specifically the ancestry is found. Okay, Legalia's Timony. You got a lot of cousins on here. Kelly, people love you. Thank you. Shelly or Shell would like to know, how would I get, Wendi and I, we are so in sync. I love it. How would I get information on my father's side? He passed away 21 years ago, and his only baby sister is alive. Okay. So Shell, can you tell me whether Shelly or Shell? You have a couple of options. The most obvious option is you can trace your grandmother's line on your father's side. So your aunt can take the Patriclan test, and that'll give you your father's maternal ancestry, which is part of your ancestry. So that's a simple, clean, cut and dry way. If your aunt has a child, so you have a cousin from that aunt, one of them could do it instead. So if you can't get your auntie to do it, you can get one of her children to do it, hopefully. To get your father's line, you need a male in the family with his last name. So I know your father's not living. If you have a brother, he can take the Patriclan test. If your father had brothers who are no longer with us, but they had sons, they can take the Patriclan test. So you need a male from your father's side to get his paternal ancestry, but you can use your auntie to get his maternal ancestry. I hope that answers that question. Woo, y'all got the questions coming. Okay, hold on. I gotta go back up. Okay. Yakota, did you have okay, Yakota's shouting out all his ancestries. He's been doing tests. Eddie Hughes is here. When will there be a family reunion to Yoruba land? We have not tackled Nigeria yet, Eddie Hughes. So that one is still in development. And I really want to go to Nigeria. So hopefully we'll have that soon. Austin's waiting for his Patriclan test now. Austin, I know you're probably on pins and needles like the others who are waiting. I want everybody to know that there's a difference between the paternal. Okay, hold on. Anita, let me address this. So Anita requested both tests. Women cannot take the paternal test, Anita. So you're going to have to get a male relative to take that test. You need somebody with your father's last name if you want your father's line. Or you could look at your mother's father's line. So you need somebody with her maiden name to get that paternal line. But if you requested both tests, please do not do the Patriclan test because it's not going to work. And then we're going to send you an email saying you shouldn't have taken the test. And So I'm glad you asked. And I want to encourage you to get somebody from your father's side, a male from your father's side, to take that test for you. Let me know if there is somebody. Okay. Oh, Brian, I took the Patriclan test 2 weeks ago. Ooh. Okay, nice. You got about, I don't know, maybe 6 more weeks to wait. You guys are making me anxious now. All these people awaiting their results. Okay. Yakota wants to know, why does African Ancestry only include the haplogroup for mtDNA, but not the Y-DNA test? That's just a decision that we've made in conjunction with our lab, Yakota. We can get enough information from the data that we do collect that we don't use or don't incorporate the Y-DNA haplogroup. I wanted to address Austin because Austin didn't ask a question, but I wanted to point out that we have 2 tests. So there's one test that traces mother to mother to mother to mother. That's called the Patriclan test. When you take the Patriclan test, there's a 92% chance that's going to be African. There's an 8% chance that it won't. I don't care whether you look like Wesley Snipes or whether you look like Mariah Carey. There's still an 8% chance that your maternal ancestry will be non-African, most likely European. When you take the paternal test, like many of you have, including you, Austin, there's a 65% chance that the result will be African and a 35% chance that it won't. And this should not be a surprise to you all because you all following us on African Ancestry are well versed in history. And you know that white slaveholders and slave traders and all kinds of white men engaged in the system of the transatlantic slave trade were fathering children with enslaved women. And so when they fathered a son, that son got the Y chromosome from his father, and that will go back to Spain or Portugal or Great Britain or Germany or France or wherever. And so I just want to lay that foundation because so many people get thrown off when the result doesn't come back African. And if you take a Patriclan test, you're really, there's a much higher chance, probability that it will not be African. Okay, Valerie, if my father's niece, I need to know if it's your father's sister's child or your father's child. I'm sorry, your father's brother's child. Valerie, is it a child from an aunt or an uncle? I need to know that before I can answer that question. Jane, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Austin. Let's see. Kenny wants to know. I'm waiting for her Aunt Valerie's answer. Kenny wants to. Okay. Let me ask Fernando. Sorry. Answer. You guys only test for Patriclan, but wouldn't apply since my biological father was white. Okay. It's not that it wouldn't apply. It's just you shouldn't take it because you already know that he's white, and chances are you have some genealogy materials or his last name or some family history, all of those things that people of African descent don't traditionally have to answer that question, Fernando. So it's not that it won't apply. It's just you should not take it. But the Patriclan test would not include maternal. So if your biological father takes the Patriclan test, Fernando, those results will apply to you and to your father. But your father has to take the Patriclan test. Hope I'm answering this question. Nathaniel, you're not the only one. A lot of people hope that. I want to answer Kenny's question. Thank you, Yakota, for pointing that out, that your paternal results came back Spain. I mean, that's just, my mother's paternal results came back Portuguese. It's just a function of history. It doesn't mean we're not Black. Doesn't mean we're not African. Doesn't mean we're not down. It doesn't mean anything except that, like everybody else, there's a white person in our family tree. Kenny wants to know if I trust DNA, Ancestry DNA. I don't think it's a matter of trust. What I will say about Ancestry DNA is that they have significantly fewer African samples that they're using to make this, to do your analysis. I don't even know if they have 2,000 African samples. So that's one thing. They don't destroy your DNA. That's another thing. And the results don't tell you which part of your family tree the ancestry is found on. So you just know that somewhere in your background, you may have this percentage of this region. They're vague. It's not that I don't trust them. It's not a matter of trust. They're just too vague for my tastes. The people who take an African ancestry test are looking for the traditions and the values and the beliefs and the cultural practices of ethnic groups or tribes. And you can't get that from an ancestry DNA test. So it's just a matter of what you're interested in. Now, if you're looking for your 5th or 6th cousin or another kind of relative, that test has identified those kinds of people for their test takers. And that's an area we don't work in. So it just depends on what you want. Okay. Somebody wants to know, will we ever link family members? I missed your name and I'm sorry. Lori, I don't know. The true answer to that is I don't know. That requires looking at a lot more of the DNA, and it also requires us capturing and storing and then making accessible in some ways your genetic information. And so I just don't know. That's the honest answer. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Kim, I can't let you know if I got your email because I'm looking at the StreamYard, but I probably got it. I hope I did. Okay, Fernando, how could I obtain info on maternal grandfather's history? Oh, this is great. Okay, I'm gonna pull up a chart I prepared for y'all because I thought I should have some backup. So let me see if I can share my screen. Hold on one second, Fernando. It's probably Fernando. I'm saying your name real DC right about now. Fernando. Okay. So this is from a presentation I gave at Weber State. So Fernando is asking about this line of his tree, his maternal grandfather's history. So we're talking about this man right here, his maternal grandfather. So if you want your maternal grandfather's paternal line, so right here, you can see where I'm moving my cursor, then you need somebody with a male with your grandfather's last name. You need your mother's brother, your mother's brother's son, your grandfather, his brother's son. You need a male from that line to take the Patriclan test. If you want your maternal grandfather's maternal line, this one, you ready for this? I hope you have a piece of paper, Fernando. You need your grandfather if he's living. If not, you need one of your grandfather's sister's children. One of your grandfather's sister's children. Or one of your grandfather's sister's daughter's children. One of your grandfather's sister's daughter's children. That's how you can get that line. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. What else we got? Valerie, did you find out? Did you say whether or not it's your father's brother's child or your father's sister's child? Fancy, did you find anything out? Anything more? Oh, was I supposed to do that, Fancy? I didn't. Wendy's on here. Wendy, do you have some? I can see whether you nod or not. Do you have any information? She's like, no, I'm not coming on right now. We're going to make a note of that question. Fancy, did you look in the African Ancestry Guide, the digital book that you can download from your results? You can also download it in the African Ancestry online community. Did you check there? I'm going to make sure you check there. Oh, good. We answered your question, Kenny. Good, good, good. Let's see. Do we have any more? Fernando, you're like Zenobia. One week, Zenobia was asking the question, do you have resources of genealogists for hire? So glad you should ask. So we're planning a Genealogy 101 Facebook Live for July. But I can tell you, people we've worked with in the past or that we've referred to are familypearl.com, Dean Henry. Let me see if I put it in here. Familypearl.com. That's one. And then another one is a woman we just met recently. Her name is, oh, thank you. Okay. Her name is Shelby Ucker, and she's at the Great Foundation. I don't know the website, so you'll have to look it up. Those are two people that we know do genealogy work. The other thing, Fernando, you can do is you can go to this site, OGS, African American Historical and Genealogical Society. A lot to write. Actually, it's Afro-American Genealogy. Afro-American Historical and Genealogical Society. Okay. You can go to them. They are not genealogists for hire as an organization. They're an organization of genealogists, and so you could ask them for some referrals as well. Okay, what else we got? Is Valerie still here? Okay, there you are. My father's sister's daughter. Okay, now I gotta remember the question. Your father's sister's daughter can take a Patriclan test, and that'll give you your father's maternal ancestry, Valerie. So yes, she can take a Patriclan test and get what you're looking for. Okay, what's the significance of knowing what haplogroup you are a member of? I'm L1C2 and share maternal genetic ancestry with Tikar people in Cameroon. So Alfreda, the way I'm going to answer that is people generally give you a haplogroup when they can't give you an ethnic group. So us giving you an ethnic group is far more informational and informative than a haplogroup. A haplogroup is just a scientific grouping of related lineages. That's it. So in my opinion, it's not really significant for the layperson to know their haplogroup. Companies started doing that because they were trying to give Black folks information about their Africanness, but it doesn't tell you anything except for that you're L1C2. So that's my answer. Hi, M-Joy. Okay, haplogroup H27. M-Joy, I want you, could you also send me an email, gpage@africanancestry.com. I don't know the definitions of all the haplogroups like that. So I'm going to give you a broad answer, but then I'm going to connect you to some more specific information. So what that means is that, let me take a step back. So scientists have divided the world into haplogroups. They started off with Africa. I don't know if Africa came first, but we're going to start with Africa. It's haplogroup L. They decided that all of the lineages in Africa were related, and they called them haplogroup L. Then they looked at Europe, which has so many fewer people, populations, lineages in it than the whole entire continent of Africa. And they gave L all these different haplogroups. for the maternal line. They gave it haplogroup U. I think H is in there. They just gave them all these different haplogroups. And then they gave Native American haplogroups A, B, C, and D. They gave Asian haplogroups A's and B's because they gave rise to the Native American haplogroups. So what getting an H27 haplogroup means in the context of the work we do is, one, there was a non-African woman on your maternal line. So somewhere, it might have been your 5th great-grandmother or your 6th great-grandmother, somewhere on the continuum of the past 2,000 years, there was a woman who was not African. And I believe haplogroup H. Wendi, could you look that up for me? Could you look up if haplogroup H is European? I believe that haplogroup H is found in Europe. And so that's really all that it means. At some point, a non-African woman had children, most likely with an African man, which began the lineage as what we would call African American in your family, most likely lineage, or added African into the lineage. But in terms of exactly where H27 is, I can't answer it on this live, but I would get the answer for you. Okay, let's see. Adrian, no, you shouldn't be worried that you got an email saying that it was unique. It just meant that we haven't seen it often before, and so they needed to take more time with it. Any reunions for Bioko Island? We don't have those scheduled yet, but I know you guys have been emailing us and wanting these reunions for all the countries, and we want to go to all those countries too, so stay tuned. But yeah, Adrian, please don't be worried. Zenobia wants to, okay, I'm sorry. Lori, my dad's Patriclan came back Spain and Portugal. His matriclan came back Sierra Leone. Your mom's maternal came back Yoruba. So are you Mende or Yoruba or both? That's for you to decide, Lori. You can claim all of those ancestries because you have DNA from ancestors from each of that belong to each of those groups. So I would say you're all of them, but you could decide. That's the great thing about identity is whatever we want it to be. I have several different ethnic groups in my family tree, and I claim all of them except for I don't really rep the Portuguese one, but I claim them all. And had there been a Sierra Leonean one in there, you better believe I would have been up there getting citizenship with the rest of my crew. Okay, Gary says, I just got the email. Gary, it's like Christmas, waiting for like Santa's on the way. You can see him on the radar. That's great. I love it. I love it. Nathaniel. Yes. So if it is something, okay. If it was something else besides African, would it give info on X thing? I don't know. I don't understand your question, but yes, it is the system. It has nothing to do with your blackness. You're black, a brother, and you are African, I'm sure. Okay, Zenobia wants to know, what is meant by your sequence similarity score of 100%? Okay. Okay, great. So the way that African Ancestry's analyses work is that we take your DNA, in the case of the Patriclan, we look at a portion of your Y chromosome, and then we compare it to the same portion of Y chromosomes from people all over the world. And we look for 100% matches. If we find identical matches with someone else or other people elsewhere in the world, you have to share genetic paternal ancestry with that person, because the Y chromosome is one of the parts of our DNA that doesn't change over time. it stays the same. So my father's Y chromosome is this in a certain position is the same as some Hausa men in Nigeria today. So we look for a 100% match. If we find a 100% match, then your sequence is 100% the same. It's 100% similar to that call. So we give you the score. We tell you how confident we are in your match. If it's not 100% the same, then we look for a score, a similarity score, a sequence similarity score of 99.9%. If we don't find that, we look for 99.8% match, 99.7% match, and so on. We don't call a match unless it's at least 98.6% the same. So we're looking for A's here. We're not looking for B's. We're not looking for C's. We're not looking for D's. We're only looking for A's. And that is a reflection of how confident we are in the result we've given you. So if your sequence similarity score is 100%, we are 100% confident that you match with those people. Now, yes, there is a margin of error. For all of our tests, we work within a 95% confidence level. And so there's a standard margin of error of plus or minus 5%. So the second part of that question is, as more and more people take this DNA test, is there a possibility that the result could change? With African ancestry, there's not a high probability of that, because we aren't increasing the size of our database significantly over time, because we already have such a large database size. Our colleagues in the industry, we have over 33,000 African lineages. They don't even have 2,000. So if you start off with 1,000 lineages and then you increase it by 10%, now you have 1,100 lineages, things are going to shift. But when you have large database sizes, you don't have the same significant shifts that you see the other companies having. Okay. Whew, I'm tired. Okay. PC Candy wants to know. Yes, you can get any name you want on the African Ancestry jewelry. Oh, that's Charles Murphy. I'm up here calling you PC. Okay, now I know. I see your picture. Shout out to Charles Murphy. Yes, you can get your name on there. Valerie, it's not that I don't claim it. I just don't rep it. It's not important to my identity. My African lineages are important to my identity, not the Portuguese lineages. That, that's just my position on it. Okay. Eddie Hughes, in both of my tests, I have a 100% similarity, sequence similarity score is what you have. Does that mean we've located a relative of mine in Ghana and Nigeria? Yes, we have located somebody or some people with whom you share a common paternal or maternal ancestry. Yep, we have. Yes, I can explain how you got a similarity score of 100 on 4 different tribes in different countries. Okay, let me see if I can pull up a map here. I'm gonna get a map to help me with this. Give me a second. Oh, okay, yeah, this will be a good map. 1 second, Jabu. Oh, Latanya Scoggins. Okay, you guys got your names throwing me off. I think I don't know you, but I know you. All right, so let me explain. Share my screen. Here I come. All right, so let's take a look at this map, even though it doesn't have country names, but So here's Sierra Leone. Next to Sierra Leone is Liberia. To the south of Sierra Leone is Liberia. To the north, just north of Sierra Leone is Guinea. Then you've got Guinea-Bissau. Then you've got Sierra Leone. So if you look across this coastline here, from Liberia to Senegal, it's not even 1,000 miles in between Senegal and Liberia. today, these places are called Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal. But at one point, historically, it was all one region. Before the Berlin Conference, when Europe's colonial powers divided up the continent of Africa for their financial gain, this was all one region. And so when we look at ancestry testing, we're looking at genetics, and genetic groups are not social, or we're looking at the genetics. Tribes and countries are social, political, cultural groupings. So if we, for example, we found your ancestry among the Mende and the Temini people living in Sierra Leone, well, at one point they were the people of that region. And so just because people can have the same genetics, but have different social, religious, cultural beliefs and practices. The way I liken it to is church. You can be a Catholic and live in DC, and your grandmother can be Baptist and live in Philly. You have the same genetics, but you live in two different places and you belong to two different groups. And so generally when we see multiple tribes, it's along this grain coast here from Senegal down to Liberia, or it's common between Nigeria and Cameroon, which, as you can see, are neighboring countries. That border is artificially drawn. At one point, it was all one region. Or we'll sometimes see it between Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, which is Bioko Island. Bioko Island is here off the coast of Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea. It's actually closer to Cameroon than it is to Equatorial Guinea, but technically it's part of Equatorial Guinea. So it's a function of, we're looking at genetics, and then we're also looking at social and cultural groupings. I hope that explained it for you. Okay, let's take a couple more questions, and then we gotta go. Our time will be up. How long does it usually take from receiving results in process until actually receiving the results package? So the entire process takes about 8 to 10 weeks. You're going to get the results in process a few days after you get your swabs received. So you probably got a swabs received email. The results in process happens once the lab actually starts working on them. And so, hold on, it looks like my power is going out. And so it could be anywhere from, I'm going to say 6 to 7 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, Travis. That's my best guess. Let me take this down. What else we got, Wendi? Any more? Okay, Kay Phillips wants to know, do you think that the people in your sample population would ever be willing to match with us so we can find out exactly who we are related to in our native country? I certainly hope so. And thank you for that question. So when we started our company 18 years ago, Dr. Kittles had already spent about almost 12 years compiling the data. So imagine now, we're talking about 30 years ago. There was this idea of DNA testing and matching for ancestry didn't exist. So when we collected our database, it was completely anonymous. And so that's the reason why we can't give you, we can't tell you who the people are. As we expand the database, in the future, we will ask for people, give them the opportunity to identify with their sample so that we can make these kinds of connections. But it really depends on, it depends on the people. If you think about the excitement that we've seen around people traveling to Sierra Leone and getting citizenship, people traveling to Ghana, repatriating, I think there's this groundswell of excitement about our connections between Africa and the diaspora. And so just as we're enthusiastic, I think that they're enthusiastic too. So I'm hopeful but there will be an opportunity for that in the future. Okay, Jamila wants to know. Okay, yes. She did the DNA test for her mother's side, and it came back Mandy. Okay. Is that Mandinko or Mende? Or both? If your son does the DNA test so if he does the Patriclan test, it will only show the results of his father's 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 father. Yes. So he will have his maternal results from you, and then he can get his paternal results himself from his Patriclan test. Yeah. Okay, Marvin says, my Patriclan says I'm from Mali, 100% match. Shout out to you, Marvin. Mali is a beautiful place. What will the Patriclan tell you? I don't know what the Patriclan will tell you. It'll give you more information about who you are. So what you've gotten is the ancestry of one branch of your tree, and that is very powerful and very informative. People who take the paternal test want more. They just want to know more about their family. Just like when you do genealogy, you don't generally trace one branch. You generally trace multiple branches. That's all. So if you don't think you need it, then you don't need it. You could be very pleased with, satisfied with what you know about Mali. Have you gotten your Mali mask? We have Mali face masks. We have face masks for all the countries that you guys have found ancestry for on the chat tonight. And I know that the mask mandates are being lifted, but I want to encourage you, because we're not going to reorder masks. So if you've been thinking about it, please check out AfricanAncestry.com and go to the Ancestry Gifts section and get a mask for yourself and for some of your family members. Those would be great gifts to celebrate your newfound ancestry. Keenan wants to know, which test do I get? Keenan, I tend to suggest that people start off with the Patriclan test, the maternal test, simply because anybody can take it. A man or a woman can take it, and it has the greatest chance of returning an African result. But if you know that someone on your mother's line is not African descent, then don't bother with the Patriclan test. But that's where I would start. Okay. I think Montreal says I can't get a mask until after June 24th. That's okay. Hopefully we'll still have them. But for all of you who do have your results, I really do want to encourage you to check out the mask. And there's a lot of stuff we have once you've taken a test. So you can get a mask. You can get a t-shirt. In fact, we're about to post the Mali t-shirt. So shout out to those of you who we've traced to Mali. You'll be getting an email soon letting you know that the Mali t-shirts are in. You can get personalized certificates. So you can get hard copies of the certificate with your sister's name or your grandson's name or your mother's name or your father's name or your uncle's name. Those are really wonderful gifts that people appreciate receiving to learn the benefits of the work that you did on their behalf. It's a gift that keeps on giving. We also have journals and notebooks, really cool identity notebooks. We've got an identity box. We've got a study guide. There's so many things that you can take advantage of. If you're not quite ready to get a test yet, and I understand that, you may be waiting for a paycheck. You may be waiting for some family members to chip in. You may be waiting for your tax return. Whatever it is, or you may just not be sure yet, and that's cool too. But check out that Remember Who You Are study guide. Check out the identity box. Those are things that can help you explore your identity without jumping into a test completely. Prince wants to know, even if the samplers want to remain anonymous, can they reveal their villages? Yeah, they could. Yep. When will the 2020... Hey, all right now, Angel. And even if you don't know, we have a new t-shirt. We have a made of t-shirt, made of I can't remember now. I just was looking at it. Made of the blood, the land. Oh gosh, I'm a terrible salesperson. Check out our made of t-shirt. It's really cool. The 2022 travel dates will become available. We're working on it. we're definitely working on those. Now that the world, we've been kind of slow going it, you know, because the world hasn't quite opened up fully yet. Sierra Leone kind of came at us fast. We weren't expecting it, so we got it going. We're looking at Burkina Faso for December. And word on the street, this isn't official, but word on the street is there's a good chance they'll be giving citizenship. So as soon as we have the 2022 dates up, we will be sending out an email. So make sure that you are opted in to receiving emails from African Ancestry, especially if you're a family member, so that you can get these kinds of updates about the trips and everything else. Zenobia says, Dr. Kittles talks about how the samples were obtained in those genes skinfolk, kinfolk podcast. Yep. Well, what we would tell them, Zenobia, is the present day village. So where the people are living today. That's what we say in terms of the country. So that's how we would report the villages. Places we born. So we just started our family reunions. We launched them in 2020, pre-pandemic. And yes, we don't do it once a year, but we have one trip per country planned each year. So right now we have 4 trips planned. One is to Senegal, one is to Sierra Leone, one is to Ghana, and one is to Burkina Faso. Those are the ones that are planned. We're working on Cameroon, feverishly working on Cameroon. I think there might be 100 people who want to go to Cameroon at the same time. And then we're also looking at Nigeria. But, you know, we've been getting a lot of pressure for Guinea-Bissau. So Guinea-Bissau might make the list too. We'll see. The website is travel.africanancestry.com. So if you go to travel.africanancestry.com, you can get the details when they're ready. So we don't know yet from the government of Sierra Leone, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, when they plan to do citizenship. They've told us November. They have not given us dates. So until we have that, we won't be able to post any dates. Yes, Angel, I know that's right. Cameroon is hot. People want to go there. Well, I have had a great time. It's 7:52 here on the East Coast. I've had a great time chatting it up with you. Thank you. Someone said it. The blood, the land, and the culture. Yes, thank you for helping me out with that. Those are the t-shirts. Shout out to Blind Guy, his wife, their life. All of you who've been asking questions, who've been lurking and listening, who've been putting up reactions. I really appreciate it. The trip to Sierra Leone, I think it was $47.99 was the trip cost for 10 days. Everything's included. All the 2 meals a day were included, but actually 3 because we had breakfast every day in the hotel. And then a whole host of activities and experiences that you really can't put a price on. The trip to Senegal, we don't have a time yet because we're not quite sure that if people are ready to go to Senegal yet, but please keep looking at the website, travel.africanancestry.com. And the other thing I want you to know is, as long as you're an African Ancestry family member, you can go on any trip. So if you're from Mali, but you've always wanted to travel to Senegal and you want to roll with us, you're welcome. If you are from Nigeria, like me and Diallo, but you've always wondered about Burkina Faso, you're down to come with us there. So please keep your eyes open for that. Thank you, Angel. We had a really good time in Sierra Leone, and it showed in that in the conversation we had last week. So if you guys missed it, check it out on YouTube or on our Facebook page, the Sierra Leone recap. We had the majority of the travelers who came with us on to share their experiences. I am, again, very honored that you chose to spend this time with us. There are a couple of you I've asked you to please send me an email. Kim, I'm going to check to make sure I got it. And you can always DM me in Facebook if you don't see my response. But I will get those answers. The MAFA, I got to answer the question of the MAFA, and then I don't remember Kim's question. Oh, H27, haplogroup H27. Until we meet again, everybody, please continue to be safe. Please continue to social distance in the appropriate locations. Please continue to support your mental health. Just because we can take our masks off doesn't mean that everything's okay. And please continue to support your immune system. That's a big part of how we made it through this far. So let's keep it going so we can continue to thrive. Until we meet again, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be whole. And thanks also to you, Wendi, for holding it down in the background. Have a good night, everybody.